Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Behind the Scenes with Axiom Medical today, where we give you a peek behind the curtain at the real heroes that really make us a success as an organization. So as you may notice, I'm a different host today. My name is Holly Foxworth. I am a registered nurse and the marketing manager of content here at Axiom, and the traditional, charismatic, always funny guy that you normally see on here. He is not here at this moment, and there's a reason for that. And that is because we flipped the script and we put him in the hot seat today. So let's welcome Jason McElweenie to the show.
Oh,
Jason.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. As Michael Scott would say, how the turntables.
Yes, the tables have turned for sure. Yes. Well, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what your title is, etc.
Well, this is weird. I'm usually the one asking the questions, so to be on the other side is odd. I love hearing people talk about themselves, and I'm never really good at talking about myself. So hopefully I can pull that off. Jason McElweenie, if you've watched this before, you know anything about me. I'm originally from Canada. I've been in Texas almost 20 years. Born and raised in Ontario, but I've lived in Quebec, Alberta, British Columbia, all over the place, and moved down to Texas in 2004 with 2 changes of clothes. Didn't think I was going to stay, and ended up staying. And for most of that's been in the Houston area.
So I guess the real question is, do you still have those 2 changes of clothes?
No. When I figured I was going to be down here a little bit longer, I went to Old Navy a lot and bought
You went to Old Navy.
Yeah,
that worked.
No, I don't think those clothes would fit me anymore.
You don't think so? Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about your role, about what you do as the brand and creative manager for Axiom.
So I've been with Axiom since October 2017 and came on as a digital marketer with design background as well, and had a couple of different roles and then came into this one. So I'm brand and creative manager. So anything that you see out in the world that has Axiom Medical on it kind of goes through me, based on designs that I work with my designer, or designs that I brought in to help change things. And a lot of that included the last 3 websites that we built. I took over a rather old website and created some new ones, and just kind of pushing our brand image farther and farther into the 21st century. And yeah, that's the gist of it. And then I also do all of our social media posts, help out with our videos. For our webinars that Holly hosts, I'm on the back end doing the production for that, and actually produce these. I was joking last show. I was like, hey, I'm going to talk to my producers, but it's just me.
And what a great job of producing that you do.
Oh,
so tell us a little bit about what did you do before you came to Axiom?
Wow, that's a long story. I did a whole bunch of different things before I even ended up in Texas. I welded truck frames for 7 years. I worked in a museum. I was a bike courier for a little while. I've worked in front of house, back of house restaurants. I was training to be a chef at one point. I've done a variety of different things. I had my own company with a couple friends where we did a lot of hyper-targeted content marketing. And I've done a whole bunch of different things. Like I said, I lived in Montreal for a while, where I worked for a gentleman that actually brought me down to Texas. He had a company where he had a lot of exotic cars. He was buying a nightclub, and he was also buying a hotel, a boutique hotel, and he wanted to have this sort of 3-in-1 kind of thing that would cater to the rich and famous. So if you were a Tom Hanks, one of our cars would come meet you at the airport, and you would take it and drive to the hotel that I would help out with, and then the nightclub. So it was this sort of big thing. But then he actually found out he had cancer, and came down here into Bel Air, which people are not familiar with. The Houston area. Bel Air is a city inside of Houston, and so his brother lived there and said, "You need to come down here," and that's what brought me down to Houston. Is we paused everything in Montreal, and I moved down here and kind of became his personal assistant.
Wow, that must have been such a change coming from Canada then, and to end up in Texas.
It wasn't really. I mean, the heat. I came down in June of 2004, and the heat was disgusting. I remember just standing there and outside, and I was sweating down the back of my head. The only time that ever happened for me is when I've been playing sports. right? Playing hockey or something like that. But the people down here, really nice and really kind. And there's sort of a quiet pride about Texans, like they're Texans first, right? And Canadians are kind of that way. Like we're Canadian, but we're not necessarily putting it in your face. But if you say, hey, what are you? You're like, oh, well, I'm Canadian. So great with the people down here. It's been really nice.
Wow. So tell us, is your family still in Canada or are they here in Texas as well?
I'm the only one in Texas. My brother and his wife were going to move down here about 20 years ago to the Dallas, the DFW area, but they decided not to. So I'm the only one in Texas. My entire family's back in my hometown of Cambridge, Ontario. I am the firstborn Canadian from my family. Everyone else is from Scotland. So my brother, my parents, my aunts and uncles, cousins, except for my cousin Trish. Hi, Trish. They are all from Scotland. So they are all back there having fun, doing well. I took my wife Sarah there at Christmas to visit all of them. It was fantastic.
Wow. Well, they must miss you, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't get up there as much as I can, but the past few years I've been going up for a long stretch, and this was the shortest one. It was a week. So.
Wow. So how was it when you went?
It was great. I was sad that there wasn't any snow. I wanted Sarah to experience a white Christmas, snowball fights, toboggans, that kind of stuff. But it was about 45, 50 degrees during the day. So it really wasn't cold. It was just kind of gray and blah. But I got to see a whole bunch of people. My wife and my sister-in-law, Martha, fantastic human being. They spent a lot of time together and just hit it off and had a great time. And then my brother, loved dearly, and his two sons. It was a good time.
That's awesome. I love the pictures that you share sometimes of your family, especially those with your dad and your mom.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with them. It was a short trip with them, but my dad, try to spend more time with my dad. He's getting older in life, so it's each time you spend with your parents when they're getting up there is a cherished moment.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, it looks like we've got some comments. Do you want to look at some of these while we're going?
Sure.
Looks like we've got Lauren who said, "Woohoo! Love this." Thank you, Lauren. We also have Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Michelle said, hi, Holly and Jason. Spend 5 minutes with Jason and you'll realize he's one of the most interesting and talented people out there. His creative interests outside this role here are a big part of why he's so successful. I could not agree more.
You're very nice. Michelle, that check is in the mail.
I think we have one more. Yeah, and Seth was on there as well. We were looking at Seth this morning. We were talking about some of his adventures that he had. He had just came back from, I think he had visited his family, and they had quite the adventure trying to get back in this weather. So it was, yeah. So you brought up, you mentioned Sarah, and I think I heard you say that was your wife. Tell us about Sarah and how long you've been married and things like that.
We just had our second anniversary on Boxing Day. For the uninitiated, which is December 26th. We got married 2 years ago. We're supposed to get married the April of the next year, but Sarah's mom was very sick, so we pushed it up. And it was great. It was fantastic, very small thing. And thankfully her mom lasted a lot longer than we thought she would. But Sarah's a fantastic human being. She's the better part of me. She's just a warm, empathetic, caring, intelligent person, and definitely something that I was lacking in my life. I have that side in me. She really brings that side out, which is great. And I love her dearly. And I'm so happy that I met her.
And she's beautiful too.
She is absolutely beautiful. Just a smart, funny human being. Her sense of humor, it just gets me every time. It's so smart. It's so smart, so funny. I'm always baffled. I'm like, what? And and then she just gives me this wink of like, the smile of like, yep.
Just melts you. Yeah. That is awesome. Now, do you also have other people that live with you? Maybe four-legged creatures there as well?
Oh yeah. I have. They're not in here. I try to kick them out when I do this because the window that's right here faces the street. And we have sort of a busy street, and my one dog just wants to yell at everything. So we have a little tiny, like a Italian Greyhound looking dog named Pippi, and then a boxer Ridgeback mix named Iggy. And they are He sheds hair. Like I think he whenever he grows a hair, it gets pushed out by another hair that's growing in there, and I think it happens every day. I've never seen a dog that sheds so much. I'm not exaggerating. I have one of those stick vacuums that I have to
Uh-huh.
vacuum twice a day on our hardwood floors because it's just covered with his hair.
Wow. So he does shed a lot. And are they were they rescue dogs, or did you have them from birth, or how did you get them?
Pippi was a rescue dog, and
Mhm.
Iggy actually got him from birth. We knew someone that had a litter, and we had a boxer prior to that. Mr. Dean Martin was his name, and we wanted to get a friend for Dean, and we knew someone that had puppies. Went down there and brought Iggy home.
Awesome. I think we
Yeah.
have a few more questions, a few more comments that came in.
What's that
Let's
said?
see.
Oh,
Oh,
hello.
hello. Oh man, Seth, that's awesome. We love when Jason does the oh hello. He also does a really great impression of our CEO as well. You have to do that one too, Jason, while we're here.
It's a small impression, and I can't do anything else that he says. But for people that worked in the old office, Mark, our CEO, would come into the office and walk around the entire office and say good morning to people or hello. And I got to a point where I could nail that, and to the like where I would even fool Dara and other people in the office, thinking, oh, Mark's not supposed to be here today. So Mark would say, "Good morning." That's all I did.
Every time. Yeah, it's perfect.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
I need to figure out a way how to say, "Hello, it's Mark. I need to withdraw money from my account."
Well, I did remember the thing I said this morning where it was talking about the AI handwriting. So, you never know. We might could do that with a voice. Make it look,
Probably.
yeah, probably would. Yeah. I think we got one more. Let's see, maybe two more. They're just flowing in. Lauren said you would work in a museum, such a cool person. Absolutely.
I actually worked. I worked in one in Toronto, the Royal Ontario Museum, and then one down here for a spell, which is the Natural History Museum. I used to work in the dinosaur exhibit, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome. I think we had one more. Let's see. Yeah, David. It's always nice to listen to you and these podcasts. The positive and down to earth conversations make this more about natural people and places, not the business. First base. Miss working with Axiom. Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate that comment, and we miss you as well. Well, talk to us about your hobbies. I think Michelle alluded to it whenever in her comment where she wrote about how creative that you are. We always call you a genius. So talk about what are your creative outlets? What do you like to do? What are some hobbies?
A lot of different stuff. I'm one of those people that's afflicted with trying to do something new all the time. I've always been a person that wants to find something, figure out how it works, and try to get really good at it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. One of the things, for instance, I wanted to do concert photography. I've self-taught photography, did a lot of street photography in Toronto. When I was the bike courier, I would just carry my little camera around and just learn photography and learn the basics of that. But I also wanted to be a concert photographer and knew some friends that did it and was able to do that. And then I started to design concert posters. I really loved concert posters. I love music, as you can see behind me. Actually, how do I do this? That one, I designed that one. That one's for Gary Clark Jr. And then how do I wait? There we go. This one, which you can't see, but it's a D'Angelo poster, who I just adore his music, and he's fantastic. So, and all the other ones that's Paul McCartney. And then, anyways, so I designed concert posters. I ended up winning an award for that with best poster designer in Houston. And other photography. I just I'll travel around. One thing I like about Texas is it's so vast and it's so big. I can go from Houston and drive out to the desert. Takes me a long time, so I have some time to decompress. And then when I'm out there, I just run around with my camera and take photos of everything that's out there. And then I'll just take photos of just whatever I do. I've done some cinematic photography with my friend Katie, which is on my Instagram posts and my photography page. And one of the things that I wanted to try was improv. And I started to do that about 7 or 8 years ago. And for a creative person, if you're looking for something new, you've never done improv, I highly suggest it. I liken it to Buddhist monks when they meet, and Les can talk about this better. They make mandalas So it's this big, just intricate, different colored salt designs. And it's a huge pattern. And then when they're done, they spend, I don't know how long making it. When they're done meeting, they just scoop it up and throw it in the wind. So it's not permanent. And the thing I like about improv is you have to create it on the fly, and then it's gone. I mean, if somebody films it, it's there, but it's gone. You can't take it back. And that's what I love about improvisation. And a lot of times when I'm up on stage and I get off stage, I have no idea what we did. I can't remember anything that we did.
Really?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. People are like, "Hey, that was a lot of fun." I'm like, I think so. I don't remember what we did.
Have you always been so funny? I mean, have you always kind of had that in you where you can just come up with so many jokes all the time?
I think two things. I think because of my Scottish background and my DNA, I have it in me. But also, I was a really scrawny kid in school, like just obscenely skinny. And I had to develop a sense of humor because I couldn't fight back. There was a lot of bullies in school, especially for guys. And being such a skinny pipsqueak, I was just an easy target. And so I would have to develop a sense of humor to kind of get back to them. So it was a couple things, I had to develop one, and I also had it in my DNA because my family is funny. They're biting. They're just great quips and funny little insults. Very thick skin, my family.
That is awesome. I think we had some additional questions that came in. Lauren was asking, where do you improv?
I do it at a couple of places. The place that I took all of my courses and taught classes, and I did, every Friday for 5 years, I was in a show. It's called Station Theater, which is over by the Target off Taylor. Laura will know where that is. She lives in Houston. They have classes. They have a free class every Friday. If you want to go and check that out, I used to teach that. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow. And then Sarah Matthews, Sarah works on our team. And so she was asking, any good tips for getting back in the creative flow if you're feeling stumped or uninspired? She said, you always have the good ones for me. So I thought I could share the wealth.
Yeah. So I do a lot of reading. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I'll try to figure out new things like with cameras and lenses. I'll just watch a lot of how-tos, and it'll give me ideas. I do lately about 2 years ago, I started dabbling in AI imagery. And so I've been generating images for 2 years, and I pretty much do that regularly. Almost every day I'll generate images. I think I have like 10,000 images or something by now. That is a fantastic outlet to see different ways that images work. But I also read a lot of magazines. I don't have one ready, but communication arts, anything that has to do with what I do or what we do in the graphics department, I love looking at those magazines. I love seeing what other people are doing with print ads or websites or commercials. And then just going for a walk works. I go to the gym almost every day, and that helps me with my, thinking of things. But I just, I have a thirst for stuff, but those blocks can happen where you just don't have it anymore. And I find like going for a walk or getting out or going to see a movie or doing something that's different might help, but that's for me. Everyone else is completely different, and I don't want to be ableist and say, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. And for me, that's what works. Always trying to find something new to keep my brain engaged so I can figure out how to do things and then use that in a creative way.
Do you rely on music a lot? Are you into music?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So all of these are concert posters, except for this one, which is right there. That's the Ecto from Ghostbusters. But yeah, I listen to music all the time. I was listening to music just before we started. You can't see here. Well, maybe you can. Right down there is a whole, probably about 600 records, 700 records. Then I have another record thing that my wife made me a couple years ago that's out in the other room. It's probably about 400 records out there. So music's a huge thing for me. I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan of rock and roll. It's always been my first love. I also love reggae, huge reggae fan. And love jazz, hip hop. I just love all music. There's some country, Willie Nelson. It's really great.
Hey, Willie's amazing. I like Willie. Who could not?
when he passes, I think everyone in Texas should probably get a week off. I think.
Probably so. Definitely. I think we should make it a national holiday. What do you think?
Should be. It should be.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put in the request. I'll put in the notice to HR then today so that we can get that taken care of. So we're on ball. We're ready. So what would you say your favorite song is if you had to pick one?
Oh gosh, I couldn't say that. I mean, I have some favorite albums.
Okay.
I don't know about a favorite song. There's a lot of songs that I love. There's a song called Mambo Sun by T-Rex, which is it has the greatest rock and roll album cover, I think, of all time. Look it up if anybody wants to see it. The album is called T-Rex Electric Warrior. It's fantastic. But the song Mambo Sun is just gritty, crunchy rock and roll that I love. There's a song by Burning Spear called Marcus Garvey, which is, I think, one of the best reggae songs of all time. John Coltrane's The Love Supreme. I think that album is fantastic, start to finish. Hip hop. There's a band called the Diggable Planets. Their album Blowout Comb celebrates its 30th anniversary this year. I've been playing that album nonstop since it came out 30 years ago. And I can't get enough of it. I just listen to it over and over and over again. It's probably one of the best hip hop albums out there.
Wow. So do you find when you listen to music that it shifts your mood, that it will kind of take you to a different place?
Definitely. And for the people that have known me, that knew me back when I worked for another marketing agency when I first moved here, in the early 2000s, I would make just a mix, like a continuous mix of like an hour of sort of head nodding kind of music, sort of funky trip hop, hip hop, jazzy stuff. And I would make these mixes and then I would share them with friends like, hey, you need to do a podcast. So I would do a podcast called The Low End Theory. And I had that for about 4 years, I think, up until about 2009. And I would release a mix every month. And the whole reason was I could just put this on. There maybe have some lyrics here and there, but I could just lose myself and just get totally into whatever I was designing. And so, yeah, music really helps. And I'll wake up one morning like, I need to listen to some Bach, or I need to listen to some Motorhead or whatever. It's completely different every day or every 20 minutes, depends.
Huh. Wow. You're never going to believe who just commented, who just popped in to leave a comment.
Hey, Dom.
That guy.
Hey,
How
Dom.
are you, Dom?
Miss you, Dom.
We do miss you, Dom. Dom worked for you. How long did Dom work with you on your team?
Oh, I don't know. 3 years it was, I think.
It's quite a while.
3 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to 2020. March or April of 2020. COVID hit. We all went home. We had to let some people go. Dara took on a lot of responsibility with everything, and so a lot of the marketing, design, content management decisions came through the three of us. And by the three of us, I mean you, myself, and Dom. And we worked a lot of crazy hours. And Dom was just fantastic throughout all of it. He was a champ and just rose to the occasion. And so whatever, Dom, if your new employers are watching this, I want to congratulate them. You have a fantastic human being on your team. Dom is just an all-around great human being and a fantastic worker and extremely talented designer. Dom's great.
I couldn't agree more. Dom, we miss you. We appreciate all you did. Well, let's talk about travel he says, miss you guys too. Shout out to the marketing team. Thank you, Dom. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about travel a little bit. We had talked about that you'd gone to Canada. What other types of travel have you done?
So about once a year, I head out to West Texas, and I'll mix it up. Maybe I'll stay in Alpine. Maybe I'll stay in Sanderson. Maybe I'll stay in Marfa. I like to get out there because there's nothing out there and there's very little people. So it's a complete contrast to, Houston, which is the fourth largest city in the United States. I love going out there. I love just turning everything off and being around quiet and being able to see all the stars. Sometimes the aurora, sometimes the Milky Way is out. You can see it. That's a big thing for me every year, is just to unplug and get out there. As far as other travel, it seems the past few years, most of the travel has been for conferences or trade shows. We tend to do at least 2 trade shows a year, myself, Holly, Darren, a couple other people. And I try to, bookend those trips with some extra stuff that's going on. This summer couldn't pull it off, but last year or the year before, went out to LA for a few days before the San Diego one. When I just started Axiom, I went to Tokyo for a couple weeks, or Japan for a couple weeks, and I was blown away. Like a lot of places where you travel, you come home, and you think, well, I'm moving there. And I really wanted to move to Japan. It's so different. They have a social contract there, in that people kind of believe in it and want to treat each other nice. It's not without crime. It's not without fault. But generally, it's, people are nice to each other. You can't find a garbage can anywhere. Japanese people just bring their garbage with them. If they have a soda or something like that, they'll put it in a bag and carry it with them. And it's just, everyone's really nice, and it's so beautiful and such a rich history. In Tokyo, we barely scraped the surface. It's the world's largest city, and so we only stayed basically in Shinjuku and explored kind of that area. Went to a baseball game, and we didn't really get around as much as we could. But with such a little time, it's hard to do. But we spent some time in Kyoto as well, and Kyoto is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you've been thinking about going to Japan, please do.
That is awesome. I would love to go to Japan. I haven't made it there yet, but I'll have to get your recommendations if I ever get to head that way. Did you guys have amazing food while you were there?
Oh yeah, I love spicy food, and we found this ramen place in Kyoto that they gave you a menu, and they did the menu. It was a 1 to 10. Right, for spiciness, but they really only described 1 to 3. So 1 was mild, 1 was sort of medium, 1 was spicy, and then it just said that was just a 5, and then a dash to 10. It didn't explain anything. So I went 5, and I thought, oh my, this is really hot. This is very, very hot. The next day I went back, had like a 7, and a couple of days later went back and had a 10. And the 10 is the hottest thing I've ever eaten in my life. I'm not kidding you. Like, I had probably like a big roll of paper towels. I would get up like in between the meal and just like pace around the restaurant. And there'd be other people doing the exact same thing, just getting up like in between their meal and just walking around the world, like nodding at each other and, doing this with our napkins. And just, it was wild. It was the hottest thing I've ever had in my life. And it was so flavorful and so tasty. And I want to go back and have it again.
Wow. What was it specifically that you ate that on? Do you remember?
It was just ramen, and then whatever spice they put in there, they just dial it up as high as it'll go. So it's ramen noodles in a broth with pork, I think it was. And I don't think I got an egg. I'm not a big fan of the egg. So yeah, it's just ramen, basic chicken ramen.
Wow.
But as far as other travel, like I've been going to a conference in Banff for a few years now called the Cult Gathering, and it's absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to go back. I find that extremely inspiring. As far as creative wise, is like seeing what all of these titans of industry are doing, and trying to use that as inspiration to bring it back to what we're doing. So it's great that I get to go to the conference, but it's also in a place that I used to live.
It's a win-win. There you go. You've got both sides. Well, speaking of kind of what you do and bringing things back, what does 2024 look like for you?
So as far as the brand for Axiom, I talked internally about this with everybody. Is we've sort of been during COVID, we had a lot of stuff to do, and so we've been evolving the brand that way to kind of cater to that and helping to build it. But for 2024, I see a lot of positive changes to the imagery and the messaging that we're going to be releasing out into the wild. I think, business wise, we're a lot more stable in the services that we offer. When COVID hit, we were doing a lot of on-site testing and that kind of stuff. And we don't necessarily do that anymore. We're back to our core competencies, and I'm embracing that in our design. So with Sarah and I, we're just gonna release some fun stuff, create some cool things for 2024, and hopefully this time next year it'll look better.
I can't wait to see it. Some of the things that you've already put out on social, some of the social posts that have the graphics there, they look amazing, Jason. I love them.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Yeah. So you think you'll do more travel as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll be going back up to Canada probably in the summer. I don't know for how long. There will probably be a trip to West Texas again, and then maybe somewhere in California. I do have an idea of somewhere else, but I can't say because someone may be watching this, and I want it to be a surprise. Oh, I probably said too much already. I'm going to take Sarah somewhere. We've already talked about it. We're going to go probably to the beach or something like that. But no big things. I would love to go back to Japan or go somewhere. I know Sarah and I have talked a lot about going to Mexico City. But see, the thing about me is when I have a holiday, I want to go on an adventure. Like I want to go to a new city and check out things, or else I just want to like not do anything and go to the desert where there aren't a lot of options. I'm forced to just not do anything. Sarah wants to go to a beach and just relax, which I understand that. I completely agree. So we may do that this year, maybe instead of out west. I don't know.
Hey, I'm with Sarah. I love a good beach. I'm with Sarah there.
You love a cruise too.
I do love a cruise. Yeah, one of these days I'm determined I'm going to get you on one as well. Yeah. What about more art? You have more art projects planned for the year?
I have a photography show up right now, actually, in Houston. I think it's going to come down at the end of the month at a wine shop bar called Vinology in Rice Village. It's been up for a few months, sold a few pieces there. Actually, I have some AI images in there as well. I had some AI images up at the Visual Arts Alliance member show. I was selected for that. And that was up for about a month, I think. Sold a couple pieces there. And then I think there's another show coming up. I'll have some pieces in. So I'm just going to submit more and more stuff. The AI stuff that I've been creating, I've been able to fine tune what I want out of an image. A lot of my images that I would create, like photography, I would try to go for a cinematic feel to it. And I've been able to kind of dial in what I want with Midjourney, which is the software that I use. So I'm creating more and more stuff, and I'm trying to create a narrative or enough images that I can have a show based on just one particular thing. And then other images, I try to poke fun or have fun with it. One of the images that I sold was, it was a guy sort of like this, right? He's looking up and there's a car floating above him, and almost like he's, compelling it to float. And I called that The Power of Chrysler Compels You. Stuff like that.
You're so brilliant. Well, that sounds amazing. So do you think that in terms of the art that you have, and I think we may have lost you there. Well, we could probably still hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Oh, let me see if I can bring myself back in.
Okay, come on back.
There we go.
Hey,
the camera. I don't know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank our producers for that.
I love it. Well, Jason, have anything else that you can think of that you want to share?
One of the driving forces in the things that I try to do in life is to try to always be good. And I think there's a lot of people that aren't being good, or a lot of people that can be good that choose not to. I think if we're all nice to each other and we all do things from a place of love, I think we can make this world a better place. And that's just, it's easy to be that way. It's really hard and time consuming, and it's a lot of work to be mean and to be ugly and to just disagree to disagree. It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like the world is a little crazy right now. And if we just take a step back and just treat each other nicely, I think we might do good things. But that's the driving force with a lot of things that I do, is I try to look at the world and try to be good to the people that are around me.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Well, Jason, I appreciate you spending the time with us today to talk about you, and I appreciate you letting me kind of wear your Superman cape today to be able to sit in this seat. I appreciate it.
You are fantastic. You're fantastic host. You should host other things.
Well,
like the webinar that is going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m.
That's exactly right. We hope that you guys will all be there. Well, Jason, I appreciate you so much. You're such an asset to our team and also to Axiom. We've worked together for years, and I just think you're amazing. That's all you can say.
I think you're amazing too. And for the people that don't see the back end stuff, Holly and I have a heart to heart, multiple times throughout the year, and just kind of tell each other how much we love them. And I absolutely adore Holly. She's a fantastic human being, just a great asset, and also just a great person. She's funny. She loves to have fun. She's a hell of a laser tag partner. She's vicious. You want her
this week?
Stone cold.
Wow.
Well, Jason, for doing this, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.